Men, fear not. All we have to do is to enter the plaza that has been reserved for us and fight to keep it. Once inside, they took over the main buildings for their protection and comfort. Francisco began to plan the logistics before nightfall. Meanwhile, up on the mountains, the thousands of warriors were lighting their torches and the fire pits to keep themselves warm. Soto, before it gets dark, go with 20 mounted men to the spring baths where the Inca is. Tell him to come and dine with me tonight. Don Francisco, you have the audacity to invite the owner of the house to have supper with you. These are not the manners of a well-bred Spaniard. Condor soul, this is not a war of etiquette. What do these Indians know about chivalry? They are probably planning to get rid of us. As far as I am concerned, this is my house, it could also be my tomb. We are fighting for the survival of the most astute, and not necessarily the strongest. Don Francisco, these people are not the pigs that you once herded. They are human beings capable of benevolence, if you are benevolent to them. We will find out in due time if these Indians are what you say they are. Soto's party, with Felipillo sitting behind him, began trotting over streams of vaporizing volcanic waters. Through the mist, the Inca warriors seemed perplexed to see men and beast as one floating in the haze. To them perhaps centaurs, as the chroniclers write. Taking less time than it would have taken the natives, they reached a wooden bridge not fit to be crossed by horses. Instead, they stampeded across the shallow stream at the sounds of the iron hoofs, resonance never heard on these lands. Oi Indio! Where is the Inca? Felipillo! Be careful how you treat them. Don Hernando de Soto. To me they are just as Indians, as they are to you. Huiracochas. The great Tichi Capac is in his bathhouse. As they arrived to the stone house, the Inca was notified that the Apumachu, old man, as Francisco was called, didn't come. Atahualpa wanted to talk to him or someone of his lineage. Francisco. Soto is taking too long. Something is not going well. I should go to find out what is happening, or at least have a show of force with more cavalry. Hernando. Go, and don't humiliate the Inca with your arrogance. We are in no position to fight them. We must apprehend Atahualpa at the right time, that moment is not now. Galloping on a land of cautious llamas, the 15 mounted men arrived at the baths of the Inca. Soto. Why is Atahualpa behind that veil? Have you been able to talk to him? Hernando, I am following the orders of Francisco to be patient with the Inca. Atahualpa doesn't want to talk to anyone, but to the old man. Don Hernando Pizarro, he says that since you are his brother he will to talk to you. Felipillo. Who do you think am I? I am as noble as the Pizarros. Senor Soto. I am not making that distinction, Atahualpa is. He knows that Don Francisco is the Apumachu, and his brother is a noble like him. Soto. You and I know who we are. I will do the talking, if that is what the Inca wishes. Finally, the veil was removed. Atahualpa, still looking at the stone floor, made no visual contact with the strangers or showed any interest in their horses. His nobles, however, were awed at the sight of bearded men mounted on animals scraping the ground, as if they were getting ready to run over them. The initial fears subsided in each party. Felipillo, now standing on ground, began to translate directly to Atahualpa. The Inca answered nothing. The translator should have been talking to his alter ego, Marcavilca, who would hear and speak for the Inca. He was the curaca of Pocos who was humiliated by the Spaniards, and now one of the principal nobles of Atahualpa because he knew about them. The Inca lord, as it was their custom, was not going to talk to a Yanacona servant or any Spaniard whom he knew could steal and fornicate. The rules of translation understood, Hernando's words were addressed to the Inca through his representative, making sure that the dialogue was not between Atahualpa and Felipillo, but Hernando and Marca Vilca. Atahualpa. My brother wants you to come to dine with him and pay his respects to such a magnificent warlord. The Inca kept looking at the floor, he answered nothing. In disconcert, Soto, who was a fine horseman, began to make a show of his equestrian prowess that would have astounded anyone, especially if seen for the first time. The sovereign had his sight at the faraway mountains that were taking an orange hue. Frustrated and to get him out of his stupor, Soto spurred his horse, charging straight toward the Inca. The animal stopped with its front legs pawing in the air, barely missing him while foaming hot saliva that spattered on Atahualpa's clothing. The Inca didn't portray any signs of panic, but his guards backed up. They would later be hanged for being unable to restrain their fears. Finally, in a highly stylized Quechua, Atahualpa spoke. That is enough. In a defiant voice, he addressed them through his alter ego. I understand that the Curaca of Tums killed 3 of your warriors and 1 horse, which proves to me that you are not demigods. Inca. Marca Vilca is not telling you the truth. Hernando had been talking to Atahualpa in a defiant tone, in spite of earlier recommendations from Francisco to oblige the Inca, a most difficult behavior to sustain for any Spaniard. Soto. It is insulting that an Indian doesn't talk directly to me. I don't care if he is the lord of the land. Hernando, be calm. Atahualpa knows that we are warriors like him, but his people don't know that. Humble yourself, at least for this time. In a sudden change of mood, the Inca gave a faint smile, putting his nobles at ease. With a facial gesture, he commanded to bring chicha for the mounted men. Soto, I am not going to drink any of their brew. Hernando. If we don't, he might feel insulted. Inca. Let us toast to our alliance. Will you come tonight, and dine with our good captain? Marca Vilca, tell them that I am fasting. I will be there tomorrow to see their Apumachu. The first meeting with Atahualpa had ended. The Spaniards left as fast as they came, wondering about what had transpired. Hernando, I am concerned. Atahualpa is not a stupid Indian, as you tend to think of them. He is the most dignified of all the caciques that we have encountered. He could have done away with us, and he hasn't. Why not? What does he want from us? We are dispossessed Spaniards, and why we are in the New World trying to get what we don't have. Whereas they have enough gold to cover Spain, metal for which we are willing to die. Soto. That is our advantage, we know what we want. The only thing that is making him doubt is that we are just as human as they are, but to us they are other than human beings. Have no fear that we shall prevail by the will of our man-god who exists, whereas their sun-god only shines. Hernando. Don't be so impudent. We have just seen a defiant warlord with all the power to kill us, and that is what we have to tell your brother. That was the first encounter of the Inca with the Spaniards. Atahualpa, you have faced the so-called Huayracochas. What are you going to do with the invaders? Cunter soul, I am not frightened by them. Those who were afraid are now hanging from the trees. Tomorrow, the bearded men will pay for all that they have done. Inca. A mounted man is equivalent to 100 of your warriors. You are at a disadvantage. I am so sure of our superiority in numbers that I myself will go to the square, and just seeing my entourage they will prostrate to my feet. You are betting the whole empire to prove that you can impose yourself over the few of them. When are you going to act like you did with your enemies, so decisive and merciless against your own? This is the time to be unforgiving with the strangers. Man of doom. Since you know what took place in our history, tell me what is going to happen.